guys. Yes, it's my ciabatta's recipe. It's in two parts, the polish, which I prepared the night before, and then the actual dough. I prefer to weigh my water, it's more accurate. Here we go. This is all pretty normal stuff. I've got a nice little Swedish machine. I think Ciabatta has one of these as well. It's great, it's open, but here we go. The polish is just water, equal amounts of water and flour. 1 teaspoon of yeast. Mix it, or let the machine do the mixing. You can see how nice this machine is. I don't have to stop to mix it or give it a helping hand. Yep, leave it on the bench for a couple of hours and then put it in the fridge. Or just in case you're wondering, I use bread flour. Here it is the next morning. Take it out of the fridge. That's what it looks like, deflated overnight. But now we're going to mix in the main dough. Please follow the recipe. Don't be tempted to add any more flour. Yeah, I let it warm up a bit before I started. As you can see, it's risen a little bit more. Get the machine started again. And then start putting in the ingredients. Anytime now. Here we go. With this machine I always start with water first. I like to add a little bit of olive oil to my mix. Not all ciabatta recipes do this actually. I haven't seen many ciabatta recipes that ask for olive oil, but I like to do that. The yeast, yes. So you add the yeast twice. First time to the polish the night before, and then second time when you're mixing it all up. The actual preparation is fairly easy, as you can see. You just dump everything in. Now I'm going to put in the flour. I just make sure the yeast is dissolved nicely before I do that. Here we go. I'm making the 8-loaf version. You notice I gave you 2 options in my yeah, while it's mixing, I get a plastic tub. I have a nice little olive oil sprayer. I use olive oil to spray the sides of the box of the dough when mix. Don't try flour, it won't work. It's a really sticky dough. You can just pour a little bit of olive oil and wipe it on. You don't need to spray it on, but I really like my little sprayer. Okay, the dough is about done. Oh, damn it, forgot the salt. Yep. Should have done it earlier when I put in the flour, but it's never too late. Let it mix a little bit longer. I don't let this dough mix for too long, 10-minute maximum. Ciabatta dough doesn't need the same amount of kneading as sort of traditional or other type of bread. You can see how sticky the dough is. It needs to be so sticky, so don't add any more flour. Yes, I'm a little bit anal about this cleaning up, ain't I? Ah, that's me. What can you do? Okay, now comes the most important thing about making ciabatta. And this is why it takes so long. Wet your hands. It's a proven trick, so the dough won't stick to your fingers. You grab one end of the dough, you stretch it out. It would help if you have a heavier container that doesn't move, but you just fold it on itself. And you do it from each corner. See? Yep, keep wetting your hands if it gets a bit sticky. You can see it's now the third corner. The fourth one is a little bit harder to do, but still just lift it up, stretch it, fold it. I just like to give it one last flip and leave it like that. And now what do? Do I cover the lid or do I wash my hands first? I think I'll wash my hands first. Okay. Now you can give it time to rise, about half an hour, 45 minutes. 45 minutes later, we're back. And you can see how much it's risen already, but you do the same thing. Wet your hands. Stretch and fold, just making sure the camera is on. Okay. Do this. I do this 5 times. Yes, there I go with my cleaning compulsion again. What can you do? It's second nature to me. But there you are. This was the second time, so get the lid on eventually and give it another 40 minutes, 45 minutes. You can vary this depending on how hot or how cold it is. So, next time, look how nicely the dough is risen. Do it again. And that's it. One more time. You need to do, that's why it takes so long. I mean, you need to do this a number of times. You need to make ciabatta, you need a day where you're going to be home, because every 45 minutes to even an hour, you keep doing this. So, here we are. While time is up, it's time to divide. It's very sticky dough, so I use lots of flours. But I can reuse some of this flour later. I wait for it to dry and then just simply put it back in the bag. As I said, this dough makes about 8 small or smallish loaves, but you'll see me cut it up. I'm going to do something a little bit different today and make some ciabatta rolls as well. I like to use a plastic dough cutter. That's mainly because I've got a stone bench, so I don't want to scratch it. But if you have a wooden cutting board or even a wooden bench top, you can probably use some of the larger metal ones that are around to make this easier. But you really don't have to be so precise. You will see that my loaves and rolls are going to be of all different sizes. And with ciabatta, that's never an issue. Lots of flour, because especially as you cut it, the sides is really sticky. And then I just put it in, I think there's a name for that particular cloth. Could it be a couche, some fancy French word? But I find that, and I've seen or heard on YouTube, other YouTube videos, that it does help the dough to dry out a little bit, as is proofing for the last time. But enough of me talking. I can't stress the need to dust everything with flour. The dough is really sticky. I just use a sieve. I was using the wrong one earlier. The holes were too big. This is finer holes, which means I can dust a little bit better. But you can see about what I said about reusing the flour, so don't be afraid to just really pour it on. Especially as you'll see, we're going to cover the dough with plastic so it doesn't dry out too much, or get a dried sort of skin, which is not good for bread. So you really need the flour on top of the dough, otherwise the cling wrap will simply stick to the dough. Okay, it's time for baking. While it was rising for the last time, it took about an hour. I warmed up the oven, I'm using the pizza stone facility on my oven, but any really hot oven will do. You put, I've got that nice peel that came with the oven. I put two of them on. I've only got one camera, so I can't show you how I put it in, but you'll see it in a second. There they are, in the oven, cooking away. And very high heat, 240 degrees. I spray some water to just give it a little bit of, they said it helps with the crust formation, but you don't need a really thick crust with ciabatta. It's not a baguette, so I don't use as much water as I would if I was cooking or if I was baking baguette. Time for the next one, and just to show you again what I do. You notice I flip the dough over. It helps it because now the underside is more moist. It shouldn't swell as much. You can notice that it did swell up a bit. I used the built-in thermometer in my oven, and when it reaches about 97 degrees Celsius internal temperature, it means the bread is baked. I leave it on for a little while longer just to give it a better crust, and then it's done. Well, the proof, as they say, is always in the eating. I think you will agree that the consistency inside the the loaf is exactly how we want it. If you want a more crusty, can I say that, a crustier crust, just put it back in the oven just before you want to eat at the end. That usually does the trick. And then, as you see, well, good effort for a day's work. And thanks for watching, guys. Don't be afraid to try it yourself.